special podcast. A former NFL player, Brandon King. He used to play for the Colts, undrafted, free agent, and then he
Mhm,
played for in college he played for Purdue, and
mhm.
he was also a member of the Miami Dolphins, Jacksonville Jaguars, and the Detroit Lions. Brandon King, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me, Santiago, man. It's a pleasure. Again, appreciate you having me on, man. Looking forward to chatting with you.
So Brandon and I met through a chat group on Telegram. We are part of this group in Miami called Chat GPT Tuesdays, where we
Yep.
actually meet every Tuesday to talk about Chat GPT, any projects, any actually there are times where people bid or they present their company, their startups to potential investors. Sometimes there's investors in the meeting and
hmm
whatnot. Before we get into that, Brandon, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, man. I'm a Warner Robins, Georgia native. Born and raised down there. Come from a big family, man. Family full of athletes. Was fortunate enough in high school to be an overachiever, and went on to be an all-state player, ranked nationally, and ended up signing a Division I scholarship to play football at Purdue. And so it kind of got helped me get on course to achieve my dream of being an NFL player. Um, Ended up playing 5 years. Ended up leaving as I think a two-time All Big Ten corner. Right. Thought we would get drafted, man. Did not happen, and so I had to fight my way onto a roster back in 2010. And obviously, not being, you know, not, not being drafted has its perks, I guess. I was able to choose a team that really really expressed interest, and it was a good situation for me, right? And so had a really dope agent coming out of college by the name of Brett Tessler. I think he's still an agent. I think Raheem, the current running back, is still an agent, still a client of his. Shout out to Brett. Man, worked my tail off and was able to make that roster. Cracked 53 back in 2010, and then went on to have a decent career. I wouldn't call it a crazy one by any stretch of imagination, but ended up playing 4 years, man, and it kind of ran into the injury bug just a little bit. But learned a lot, man. Had a really good time doing it. Jump around from a few teams. Obviously, Indy, like you were saying, where I spent the majority of my time on active roster. Then I played with had a stint with the Miami Dolphins, the Jacksonville Jaguars, and lastly the Detroit Lions. That was actually my last one. So, man, had a decent career, had fun, made some money, learned a lot, made a lot of lifelong connections of people I still talk to today. And towards the end of my career, man, um, started investing in tech, and the rest has been kind of history since I did that, man. So it's just a little information, a little quick update of bio about me, and obviously I'll be sharing more as we get into the conversation throughout the stream.
So after football, you got into tech, and you told me already before this podcast that you got into two startups. Tell us a little bit about that before we go into the big one that you are working on right now. But first, let's go into
Right.
that story.
Yeah, man. So yeah, like I was saying earlier, bro, like I think I started investing in tech around 2013, 2014.
So right after
Um,
football, pretty much.
right after football, that's what I jumped into, right? So tech, it was just fascinated with it, man. I don't even know, bro. I don't even remember how I got into tech necessarily.
Were you watching a
I
Gary
can't
V
even
video?
the what now,
Were
Gary
you
V.
watching a Gary Vaynerchuk video?
I don't remember what it was. I don't remember how it happened, but somehow, some shape, I'm in there. I'm investing small amounts of money first, and then I had a big I don't want to say big, but for me it was $150,000 investment that bombed, and then that kind of got me in it because I started understanding all the different aspects of it and what it took. And man, before you knew it, I was coding up apps, bro, that were doing like 30 grand a month in revenue. back in like 2014. I remember building a game called it's called Smash Man. It was actually a Peyton Manning type game that did well and got on TMZ and made some money, man. So that's kind of how I got into. I think you probably can still look it up online too. When I did it, it was a TMZ article that really helped drive a bunch of downloads. Appreciate TMZ for that.
That helps.
But that it definitely, man. Look, any good publicity, whatever publicity is good publicity, right? Um, so that's what got me into it, man. And then I decided to go get some formal training. Went to a boot camp. The NFL actually paid for me to go to school. Shout out to the NFLPA for doing that. And as they do with a lot of NFL former players, right? They'll help you continue your education. And then became a full stack engineer, bro. Right. So there's nothing at this point I couldn't build. And so I just started hacking away and hacked my way into some different products of things I thought were going to the moon, and they obviously crashed and burned really quickly. But then through that, man, started solving problems and worked my way to build a startup that eventually got we were able to raise some institutional dollars from some institutional investors. So about 20, I think 2020, came up with a concept called FanSub, man, that was supposed to be a fan engagement platform for creators. And so built, the mission state, the mission, the vision, man, everything behind it. And then built the MVP, started doing, so there was a streaming mechanism, the platform. The pandemic was just hitting right. And so that really kind of helped catapult us off the ground. Like, people couldn't necessarily attend events. And so through our platform, they were attending these events virtually. And they were actually, and on some occasions, some of our users were like hosting their own paper on demand events, man. And so that got the attention of some investors out in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And before you know it, we had raised 70K, and then the next check that came in was 600, and then all of a sudden we looked up, we were almost 2 million in venture funding raised. And it was quite an experience, man. And that's almost been now what I think it was a total of like 3 years that we did it, man. Learned a lot of lessons. Ultimately end up failing at it. We just didn't raise quite a bit of cash, man, to actually keep it going. And so we ended up having to shut it down sometime around mid year last year. But man, it was a hell of an experience, and actually helped me segue into the next startup I'm building, which is a AI startup, bro. So man, I've done the corporate engineering thing. I've done the startup engineering thing. I've done the founder route. I bootstrap companies. I've raised venture. Done it all, man. But obviously, I hadn't done an AI startup yet, which is right now is the hottest, like the hottest industry in all of tech, right? Obviously, and so yeah, man. I would say, if it wasn't for the entire journey, football, giving me the drive and the passion to actually challenge myself to attempt to build some of the stuff that I'm attempting to build, man. I would not be the entrepreneur that I am today. But then obviously with the venture back company that we had, building the team, man, going the whole route, bro. Like going from one person to 25 people was absolutely tremendous, and it set me up for what I'm doing now, in an absolutely fantastic way. So, I could talk about, what things were like, all, till I'm blue in the face. But it was an incredible experience, man. And I'm definitely looking forward to continuing to build right here in the Miami area, in the AI industry.
Yeah, especially here in Miami. Interesting that I did not know the NFLPA would help you out with your education. That's
Yeah.
something new that I've never knew about. I mean, I've always heard about the insurance thing, health, and
Mhm.
everything, but I did not know about continuing education. That's
Yeah,
quite
man.
interesting
Yeah.
about that. So, artificial intelligence, those are big keywords this past year.
Right.
And that's how we first met through this Telegram group, and obviously in the meeting with the whole Chat GPT Tuesdays meetings.
Yeah,
Artificial
man.
intelligence is getting hot. Probably most of you guys of the most of the listeners use ChatGPT, where you type in a prompt, it can answer your question. What did Abraham Lincoln eat for lunch? Things like that, or
Yeah.
how to code, or also you could build me an image. Brendan, how'd you get into artificial intelligence and now your current startup?
Man, so how did I get into it? I think just like everybody else did, or most of us people that aren't ML researchers, right? Playing with Chat GPT, dude, like just was fascinated by the things that it could do, right? And I think I got word of it around February, and I actually was remember being kind of mad at some of my co-founders because they didn't even tell me about it. So I feel like I was the last to catch it. But yeah, just playing around with it, man, like prompting, and just the thing that it was able to generate was absolutely. I had never seen anything like it. And when it came to coding, bro, like a lot of devs know, it obviously pays to have other seasoned senior engineers, companions or whatever you want to call it, people helping assist you in code. That's oftentimes sought out. There's a lot of, for me, bro, there was a lot of, in my development process, Stack Overflow, GitHub, all this stuff. And what Chat GPT did for engineers, man, is like give you your own, development assistant, essentially. Like no longer are the days where we have to go search for code or do boilerplate things, right? Like now you can do things that would have taken you months doing, you can do that in hours or days, right? And so that is how I got into it. Like, using Chat GPT to literally help me build my startup, like help me, to help build mobile apps, and not just bare bones stuff, but really complex processes, like a lot of deep data stuff. And so I saw the power of it, Santiago, like literally saw the power of it. And then, just by being in every day, man, hearing different things, I just started thinking about other ways, other problems that AI, that AI could solve, and I just naturally, we were kind of at the end of our runway for our current startup, and I wanted, I was looking, so AI can obviously produce text really well, and then I think around what was it around like Q4 last year, they introduced the multimodal stuff, right? It's Chat GPT 4, the Vision preview model, and that kind of made my brain go haywire. I'm like, well, if it can obviously see stuff and this and that, I got this. I have this powerful design code assistant. Well, where's the design assistant? Like, where's somebody to help me generate UI? Right? Like, I'm like, what if I didn't have to go to a Wix or go hire a UX designer for high end UI, right? What if AI can do this in 5 minutes, something that it may take forever doing? Because I'd say too, one of the reasons our startup, we think we failed, and where we know we failed because we couldn't ship fast enough, right? So in the whole process, developers have to obviously build, at a certain speed. You're waiting on designs of the whole SDLC process. So uh, it, you know, so the problem became how can we speed this thing up and not waste a lot of time. And so that's where the idea for Sintara came up, right? And so Sintara is a AI powered platform that transforms spoken words into professional UI design. So imagine just like you're sitting there talking to a seasoned UI designer, we have built a model that allow you to speak in the same manner, and then it'll take your spoken input and turn it into UI design. So, and yeah, here we are now. I didn't even know you were going to the site, man. Yeah, so that was the inspiration, and what you're seeing on the screen right now, man, was actually the entire web layout design you see right here on your screen, Santiago. That was designed using AI.
Wow, I did not know.
Yeah,
Uh,
man. That
so how did you come up with the name Santara?
So I'll tell you, man. I'll just be honest. Like I used AI to come up with everything that you see on the screen,
No
like
way.
the logo, the name, the copy, every single thing you see. Like obviously the SVG icons in the top right corner, the social ones they weren't, but everything else you see right here, the copy, it literally everything, even the background image, Santiago, was generated by AI.
AI. Wow, incredible. So
And
obviously, ChatGPT could do everything, but I'm just, but like you and I, well, me specifically, started to learn that maybe not everything actually, because there's
no,
certain niche
not
things.
everything.
I just went to a meeting on Tuesday, Brandon, and this one guy was doing a learning model for a
Mhm.
Pacific law firm, and they could,
Right.
look at the cases and what's the status and what could possibly be happening down the road.
Yeah.
But you got into a niche as well. You said that, yeah, they can give you the code, but not much design. So
Right.
can you tell us, what do you think the outcome will be with this, and who will use it, and things like that?
Yeah. So let's start with who will use it. So startups and entrepreneurs, small businesses, they will be the first users. So, and I can even go a little more in depth. Particularly folks that don't come from a UX background or a UI background, right? They will be the people that find this the most useful, and also other entrepreneurs like you and myself who understand, what UI is and how important it is, but may not have the time to time or resources, money, right, to sit down and be able to afford, UI that kind of meets the bar of where today's technology thinks things should be like, look like, and feel like. And so those will be that's who we are target. That's essentially who we're targeting, Santiago.
No, that's great. And like you were saying, like I'm not. Yes, I have Photoshop, but I'm not the best
Mhm.
designer, and I
Right,
don't have the
right,
eye for it. Put those lines, the dividers, and little small details like that. But with this
right,
AI, it has the
mhm,
capability of helping you out and designing
right.
stuff for that stuff. So,
Yeah,
how is the process going on now? When do you think be launch? Any
yeah.
idea?
Yeah, so man, we're in the process of building the model now, right? So the model, I'll give you an update. So right now we're finishing model architecture, right? And so this will be like my third version of of like iteration on the architecture. And so it's a multimodal model, and it is a iterative process, Santiago. Like, it's
And
out of all the
I want to give a heads up to everyone. Brandon's coding in like all this himself, right?
yeah, so I'm coding in Python. Yeah, yeah. So I'm a full stack engineer. I know a plethora of languages, and yes, I'm coding all this myself, just like I did in my other startups. Like, right, every startup that I built, gotten funded, I built myself. And so this one is just the same, right? But it's different, right? This is definitely different from our normal, React type stuff that we be doing, or Node or JavaScript. And so it's been challenging, man, but it's a really refining industry. I've never had to build a tool to help the other tool, essentially. And so, there's a lot of extraction in this process. There's a lot of data set building, and Sintara is only as good as the data sets that we're building and using. And so we had to build a tool to actually build the data sets first. And in building it, I use Open API's API, and as well as Google Gemini Pro's API. And I would tell people to take advantage of that one because it's still free right now. If you knew better. But when it comes to annotations, right? Annotating, labeling data, though that is how we built our data sets. And I won't hesitate with how to do it. I think more devs should take advantage of it. But it's been really iterative, Santiago. Like a lot of learning lessons, and I can definitely say that ChatGPT 4 has been the workhorse that has helped guide me through the process, right? Of how to build this model, right, and how to go about testing them in a relatively short time frame. So I wouldn't say I'm an expert at this at all. It's been a really iterative process in getting it, but I knew from the start, that the power, with what we were trying to do, trying to build a generative UI model, that the model was everything in this project. Like the voice to text stuff, kind of at this point is trivial. There are APIs out there for that, right? And so, I wanted to, uh, you know, make sure that the MVP, we at least had, a V1 that did what we said it was going to do. And so it's been a lot of in the beginning, man, it was a lot of like faking it, and now we're transitioning to actually making it and actually doing it. And so I would say I probably give it another month, probably March 1st date that
Wow.
that the first one will be released. Yeah, like literally the models. we're going through refinement right now of the model. We're in the iterative steps, like making, fine tuning it, making sure everything's um, it fits, because this is a model that generates JSON, right? This does not generate images. This is a JSON generative model, and then that JSON is then converted into what we know as a website, and but to the user, it's deemed a design, and so. Just a little bit about how it works, man, and where we are in the process. But I would say we're about another 30 days from actually me showing you its capabilities.
That's really exciting. And the one of the keywords you said was learning models. That's something that is pretty much involved in the back end when it comes to artificial intelligence, ChatGPT, and now Sintara.
Yeah.
So Brandon, what is the best way for people to find out about Sintara, and how can they get more information once it's released?
Yeah, man. So I would say right now to keep up all the updates, go to the Sintara.ai, man, and make sure you sign up for the wait list. We'll be updating people weekly. From this Monday on, you'll get weekly updates, and then follow any of the social accounts, because we're actually active on Twitter, or X now, as they call it, Instagram, and I think TikTok too. So follow the socials, man. And then obviously sign up for the wait list again, and then we may shock people, and then actually release something, maybe sooner, depending on how things go, man. But that would be the best way for people to follow up, and then reach out to me directly if anybody has any questions. I can be found on LinkedIn, Twitter, or Instagram, and obviously in our AI Telegram channel as well, man. Big props for you reaching out as well, Santiago. Salute to you, man, for doing that.
Yeah, it's funny because I hardly meet people that are into sports and tech, and Brandon, you're one of them. So I was
Yeah.
really blessed, and we were talking and all that. So what is your Twitter account and your other social media accounts so people can find you?
Yes. Yeah. So my Twitter account is Brandon King 4787. You can find me on there. And then my Instagram, I think, is bking_7. Those are the primary two that I use. And then obviously you can go search me on LinkedIn, and it's just straight Brandon King. Connect with me on there too, man. Super friendly dude, man. I don't mind sharing knowledge, and I've been trying to be more, have a more public building approach with what I'm doing. I want people to understand that anybody can technically do this. I think we're on the cusp of seeing one-man teams that can build multi-million-dollar platforms. With AI assisting you in what you're building. So I think, and not that you even asked me for my thought on that, but I just think because I'm doing it. Like I'm literally doing it myself. It's not perfect, and it's definitely not I would say it's something that you can do forever, but at least in the initial stages. So you put some sweat equity in. I think everyday users are about to be able to harness the power AI to break into the tech or SaaS market here probably in the next 2 years.
Yeah, that's something that I've been encouraged to do. I've had a few clients approach me about learning models and like
Mm.
artificial intelligence, and definitely want to get
Yeah.
on the ball with that. And now that you told me some tools how to do it, so definitely
Yeah.
want to get into that. Anyways, visit Brandon's site, Sintara.ai. Check out his
Mhm.
stuff. I think it's really innovative. Brandon,
Mhm.
any closing words before we head off?
No, man. We're I appreciate you having me on. As far as Centaur, we're looking for ML, AI researchers, engineers. Anybody sees this, wants to tag along, or is interested in what we're doing, feel free to reach out to me on socials or LinkedIn, man. We're definitely looking to grow the team. We're at a pivotal point to where we pretty much know things are on the up and up and looking really good as far as like what we're doing with it. So again, though, thank you for having me on, Santiago. It's been a pleasure, man, conversing with you, talking football and tech, and I look forward to being on the show again, man.
Brandon, I appreciate you. Good night.